I'm going like the property market 2021 predictions. Where's it going to go? Should you bet on the property market? Should you short the property market? This topic inspired by GameStop. A lot of talk about it. Stay tuned. Welcome to Morning Minute. Michael Bergio, Mark Novak. Mark is back. The short squeeze. What's the word? Inspired by what's happening in the US. And
can you explain this? Can you explain this? I don't really understand this, and I think anyone who's not in the stock market doesn't really know what's happening with GameStop. It sounds like an exciting story. Can you explain it, Champ?
Yeah, so in summer, people can Google what a short squeeze is, but basically a lot of hedge funds were betting that this company called GameStop would go down in value, so they shorted it. These sort of people.
GameStop was like EB Games in Australia. You walk in and you buy your, PlayStation games or your, consoles or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, correct. And obviously a lot of people are downloading them. You're not actually dealing in physical games. So the hedge funds on Wall Street were like, this company is going to tank. We're going to short it, and we're going to short it hard. Like if there's an extent of shorting, it was like an 11 out of 10. They were that confident it was going to go down. Then you've got Reddit, which is like an online forum, a lot of gamers, a lot of just everyone chatting on the forum. And obviously there's, with COVID, there's a bit of animosity against sort of hedge funds and the wealth, because if anyone can look at the top billionaires, they've gotten a lot wealthier this year. Like they've loved COVID by looking at their finances. So a few people on this forum were like, hey guys, we can basically stick it to the man, stick it to the hedge funds. Everyone buy this stock, basically buy what you can lose. No one was saying the stock's going to go up. It's great value. So it's not like the Wolf of Wall Street, where he's like, they've got a great deal, buy it and pump it. That's got a pump and dump. This was everyone basically saying, stick it to the hedge funds, because if we all put in a little, but there's millions of us, they're going to lose tens of billions and hundreds of billions of dollars. And that's
so everyone's just throwing a sausage in the ring.
Yeah, and the company on the stock exchange is worth more than Tesla. This was a $5 US company, gone to $4.50 at its max. Obviously, there's some controversy, but that's all that we needed to sort of speak about that essence. But it reminds me of the property market. People are always talking about, should I short it? Should I go long, i.e. bet against it, or should I buy in? And I think 2021...
So just for me, this shorting and longing thing, can one, what is it? And two, how does it relate to the property market? Because so shorting something is, it's a sinking ship in someone's opinion, and they make an investment on the fact that it is a sinking ship. Is that right?
Basically, yeah. So the equivalent to property would be the house is worth $1 million. Well, house is worth $1 million. I bet it's going to go down, so I'll cash out. But in stocks, you're actually sort of borrowing someone's stock, and then you have to buy it back after a certain deadline. So you may short it for 5 days. I'm going to borrow your stock at $20. I hope it goes down to like $5, and then I make a profit on it. But when it goes up to $300, you borrowed someone's stock, so then you have to buy it back at 1,500%. So you lose big. And a lot of people did that in the property market. I heard this a lot in 2015, Mark, where they're like, we thought property was going to go down. We sold our house in Manlyvale for $800,000, and now it's worth 1.5. Like we can't get back in. And I think people are thinking that now.
And you know what? It's a risky game, and you are betting against, this EB Games or GameStop or what they are in America. Like, I can understand people having a sentiment against it or for it, but you're talking about shelter now. So when people are betting against the property market, which I got to admit, I feel like it grates me a little bit when people say to me, I'm not going to buy it because I reckon the market's going to tank. And I've been hearing that for all my life as a real estate agent. your sort of hair stands up on the back of your neck a little bit because I don't know. Like I was just saying off air, Michael. I think when you're making money, when you want to make money on other people's loss, I don't think it's a good way to make money. So when people say to me, I'm not going to buy, I'm going to wait until there's a couple of bankruptcies
Oh,
when the market goes, yeah,
I'm like,
you know, when the market goes, when the market goes bad next year and people go bankrupt, you let me know. It's like, that's shorting, isn't it? That'd be effectively like shorting the market, is it?
in the property market, yeah.
Right. And then I'm like, look, okay, you know what? I don't even, you don't, what's that saying? You don't argue with an idiot. Like,
Yes.
I just, you just go, okay, look, if you look at I still have to have a punch on the way out though. Like, I just still go, oh, well, it hasn't
you'll
done
be waiting
the last
a while.
50 years. Eh?
It's like you'll be waiting a while. I heard that in 2016. They were waiting for the crash.
Yep.
Like you just have a go, oh yeah. So
and people were shorting the property market through the GFC. People were shorting the property market through COVID. And I think if you're playing the long game, you're wrong on both counts, all the time. So it's pretty important, I think, to love the one you're with. Back property.
yeah, you put up a post yesterday with the agent's recommendation, like our opinions on the growth for this year. I'd love to hear. Do you want to go through that, Mark? And I'd love to hear Luke's view, Jeff's, and Mal. What do you think residential property will go up this year, if any?
Yeah. So when was that we did that? I think it was the 28th or 30th of December, or maybe the first couple of days of January.
Yeah. So
and
I think
it
was beginning of January.
So we all, as a sales team, I went around the room and just said, guys, everyone, like in that room, there was almost 100 years of experience of real estate agents. And I said, hey, okay, we've just wound up 20.
Mark's audio is cutting out, so I don't know if it's cutting out for everybody. So basically, we went around the table.
Sorry.
Oh, you're back? I think you're back. Carry on. We didn't hear anything past 100 years experience.
Yeah, so look, everyone in the room, when we had our sales meeting, was thinking between 8 and 15%. That was sort of the numbers: 8, 10%, 12%, 13%, 9%. Oh, was it 15%? What were you at? Yeah, Northern Beaches. What were you at? The Northern Beaches property market growth.
Because I think I was around 7% Northern Beaches, because I know Anmar and Luke have just commented 0 to 5%, 3 to 5%, which I reckon is pretty spot on, which is when we've typically seen that Northern Beaches in its own little market. If Sydney goes up, it's a little bit higher. So I reckon that's probably on par if we did a Sydney-wide one.
Look, the reality is we're going to go up, but you're going to be paying about 3% anyway in rent.
Yeah.
So wherever you want to live, you're going to chew up 3%. So at the end of the day, if you own it, anything more than 0% is money in your back pocket. So I know Amal's saying 3 to 5%, Luke's saying 0 to 5%, but all of those are positive figures considering, particularly if you're living in the property, that's going to be capital gains free straight into your back pocket. Otherwise, if you're not, you're going to be paying a landlord 3% of what the property's worth anyway.
And that's a good point. And even to an extent, I was going to say even if it was -1, because you got to rent somewhere paying 2 to 3, but it'd be an investment. But the point is, unlike a stock, and when people are betting, it's almost like when people don't. It's more to the people who don't own anything and they're betting against, and they fully cash out of the property market. You've got to live somewhere, and then you look at a lot long-term view. I can understand maybe if you got 6 properties, 7 properties, you may want to diverse, but that's a normal strategy. You go from resi to commercial, you have your super, you may have some shares. But there are other people out there that think they've looked at bet fully against it and not own one property, but they don't think I have to live somewhere. So I'm either going to be potentially making 0 to 5% this year or paying someone rent for 1 to 3%. So the money's going out.
So to wrap it up, the GameStop,
Short squeeze.
great short. Have you
Yeah.
put any money in?
No, I was looking at it. I don't think you can. ComSec, I tried Robinhood. I tried yesterday when it plummeted because Robinhood stopped everyone buying it, which is big controversy, and it dropped to like 190. And I was like, this is going to soar tomorrow. But I think you got to be in America to buy on that exchange.
All I can say is these Americans have been pretty crazy the last 3 months, man.
Last year. Well, they've been locked up. A lot of areas have been locked up for a year. Like, they've had it tough. Some of their states were like Melbourne, but non-stop. But I reckon this GameStop could be a movie. They made one out of the GFC, the short squeeze.
If you were considering moving to a new country and having a new life, and you were juggling between America and Australia, Australia's looking pretty goddamn good the last year.
Yeah, well, they're talking about not opening the borders till 2022 for any international flights. I know Qantas were throwing out maybe out of book in July, but the government released something last week. I know some people are upset, but like, we've got to make the most of being an island. If we can obviously not live freely internationally, but then we restrain the virus, because let's face it, we lock down pretty hard just on cases. So the vaccine's going to be pretty irrelevant if we're going to lock down on cases. So I think the border will stay closed for a year or two. So
interesting times. That's the big short. Our advice: don't short the property market, because the odds are mid to long term, which is you can't buy property short term because of the entry and exit costs. So we can only really talk mid to long term. Mid to long term, property is always a winner, eh?
Yeah, and interest rates are cheap, so get in. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks for watching, everyone. And if there's a topic you want us to cover, direct message us, comment in here, and everyone, thanks for your support.
Cheers.
Have
Thanks.
a great day. Property.